What's going on, family? This is Johnathan Soul. Wanted to talk a little about this article I found on Bloomberg. See, this article came out January 25th, 2021. U.S. suffers sharpest rise in poverty rate in more than 50 years. Gist of the article is that in the latter half of 2020, 2.5, the poverty rate of, University of Notre Dame study found that the poverty rate increased by 2.4 percentage points during the last half of 2020. And amongst African Americans, it was twice that, more than twice that. So we're talking about millions of people being classified as impoverished, millions of people going into poverty. So that's unemployment, that's underemployment, and all the stresses that come about with that. And I'm bringing this to mind because I see a lot of buzz from some of my brothers and sisters on Twitter about you guys are foolish to vote for the black people who voted for Biden were foolish, or thank you, Trump, for, freeing, some people, pardoning some. That's a distraction. We can't worry about things like this when the ship is sinking. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like you got to kind of, we can't, and that's trauma. That's really some of the trauma that all of us in the African American community have. If somebody doesn't strictly follow some kind of ideal that we have, sometimes we fall into that, bad behaviors. It's like the old saying, hurt people. It's kind of that kind of thing. Of course, it's more productive if we focus on what we can do. It's more productive if we focus on any little success that we have individually and as a group. It's more productive if we kind of pat each other on the back and attaboy rather than, you don't belong to my specific, it's just, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, that's not productive. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, in any horrible situation, and that's horrible. I've been unemployed before. One of the worst things about unemployment, obviously the stress and all that kind of stuff, but the stress of not having, after a while, your mind can get creative and figure out how to get, but it's the stigma sometimes about becoming unemployed. I know y'all been on a job where such and such who used to work with you got let go. And it's almost like they died or they disappeared. Have y'all ever been in a situation where maybe one of those people tried to email you back and say, hey, what's going on? You're like, can I talk to this dude or be this? You know what I mean? It's like, what are you calling me for? We wasn't even friends like that. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. I've been in that situation and, where people have been let go and then like they're never spoken of again. Your manager or the VP or whatever in charge of your department, it's like they never existed. That's a very weird vibration. And for men, I can only speak from a man's point of view. I mean, it's a fucking blow to your ego. Men are supposed to be, the provider and protector and this, that, and the third. And, all jobs are temporary. Quiet as it's kept. Maybe not so quiet now. All jobs are temporary. And so when that temporary representation of your ego is taken away, that's like a hit to the gut. Hit to the groin. Like a kick to the groin. And it takes a minute to recover. And the stress that it's the stress. So what can we do? Well, I have gone through, I would say, 2 career changes. Some people would say reinvent yourself. I don't know about all that, but I know I had to switch gears. One time it was when I was a teacher. I was in graphic design for years. And, for the 90s, it was a decent living. But I wasn't able to save very much and blah, 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 whatever. And the job market started drying up. I ended up teaching art and computers, I think, at a charter school. Decent salary, the whole bit, whatever. And then, the stresses of work and economy can be hell on a marriage. And I found myself making another transition. And I ended up in IT. Now, there's a concept that I'm going to mention once or twice during this little talk, and it'll be brief, is ROI. ROI means return on investment. And I went to school for 4 years to study graphic design. And they really didn't teach us the principles of graphic design really until I would say like the last 2 years of my education. So the first 2 years was just fluff, history and remedial English classes, stuff like that. And so, now for me to get in IT, we're talking about months of study. And I made more in IT than I did for that bachelor's degree that I got. So I'm coming to you with the poverty shit first to kind of lay the foundation. So if you're in a situation where you need another opportunity, just write this down or remember it. A+, network plus, security plus. A+, network plus, security plus. What is A+? A+ is a very basic technology certification where you study about how computers work, the hardware, the software, and the network. Hardware, hardware is already software, software is already. And network is how they all connect to other computers. And so, and nowadays, I think they've thrown in other things like Linux and things of that nature. You can study it for free. You can go on YouTube. You can look up, there's a brother named Professor Messer. Professor Messer. I think it's Messer. And he does weekly classes, like live classes and stuff. If you're unemployed and you're sitting at the crib trying to figure out what to do, you can look that on your computer. If you don't have, you look it out on your phone, and he does the classes. You can get a book, free from the library if library is open near you, or you can order an ebook and you can put it on your phone. I'm thinking like the worst possible scenario. If you're in a situation where you don't have a computer and a monitor and you don't have money to buy books off of Amazon or whatever, all this shit you can do for free on your phone. So when you get an A+ certification, and now just to keep in mind the training that you can teach yourself, and it's free. That's free. The exam might cost you a couple $100 to take. But once you got that, it lets the HR people know and HR is going to look at your resume first before any people in the art department, the technology department look at it. They're going to know, okay, he checks or she checks the box, A+. So A+, security plus. Okay, I'm sorry, A+, network plus. Network plus, again, is the network piece, how computers talk to each other. When you're on and I know some of you guys know this already, but for those who don't, when you're on your phone or your laptop, computer, whatever, and you punch up www.whatever.com, your computer makes a request through the wireless or through the Ethernet cable, into the internet, and it goes to an IP address, which might be, 92 dot something, 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 da, da, da. And then it, talks to a computer and it gives you back what you asked for, the web page. Well, there are certain laws and rules and policies that whole interaction has to follow. And so you learn that. And again, these are very basic kinds of things. And then Security Plus. Security Plus is mostly paperwork. It's mostly ideas and concepts and just protocols and abbreviations and acronyms that you study to let the HR person know, because that's really what this is about. The IT guy want to know if you really can do the job. That the IT, so, and the reason why I say A plus, Network Plus, and Security Plus is because the Department of Defense, the DoD, has a standard for people to have these certifications before you work on a contract. And so, if you got a clean record and no felonies and all that kind of stuff, and you haven't been plotting with China or Russia or whatever, and you got these certs, it's a possibility that you could get on, some contracts and stuff like that. Now, what this will do is this will give you a basic, a foundation book knowledge of how to fix computers, right? Either on the phone, ring, ring, ring. Hello, this is help desk. How can I help you? Oh, your screen is dark. Okay. Do you see any lights on? You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. Or you say, hey, Susie, I need you to set up a laptop and monitors and printers in Joe Bob's office. He's going to be coming in on Monday. That it gives you that kind of foundation. And so, and the reason why I say A plus first is because A plus talks about all three. So once you knock out your A plus, the Network Plus is easier because you're already familiar with the terms. And then, of course, Network Plus is, built on top of that. So that's a way out. That's a way out. That's a way for you to get a job that can pay you, 30, depending on what region in the country you are or in the world. At least I'm talking about America, 30, 40 grand, in the 30s for sure, starting out. And this is just, 9 to 5 or whatever shift they offer you, 40 hours a week. Just say, when I worked at the help desk, the lowest person I think was making 33, 32 grand. Now, this guy had been working in IT for a while, but I don't know why they paid him that low. I don't know why. Everybody else was in their 40s, 40 grand a year or whatever. There were a couple of people that might have been, but that's just, it's a career. It's better than food service. You know what I mean? It's better than, retail. It's better than working in a bakery, It can help solve some problems for you. And I'm going to tell you like this, and this is the little bit of pressure. The government and IT companies like immigrants. They like folks coming in who are willing to work for cheaper. And, we can't necessarily get mad at them because capital chases cheap labor. Ultimately, capital wants to eliminate the cost of labor, i.e. slavery or robots or something along those lines, but that's too far afield. That's another discussion. But, so I guess what I'm trying to say is hurry up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? This is a way out for a lot of people. Now you say, well, I'm not technologically, look, nobody's born with computers on the brain. Learning how a computer works is just as, it's like, you ever have to put some furniture together? Say with the fellas, have you ever had to put some furniture together and maybe you didn't understand the instructions per se, but you looked at the screws and you looked at the holes and you looked at the parts and you figured it out, right? That's how complicated this A plus Network Plus security stuff is. Depending on which resource you use. And let me give you three. So one, the free is YouTube. Okay. There may be others, but I'm only telling you stuff that I use personally. YouTube is free. There's another place which is not free, but it's cheap, is Udemy, Udemy, udemy.com. I bought classes on there for $12, $24, that kind of thing. But I'm reading this poverty article. I'm thinking, okay, maybe this person is making some real hard decisions. And so I'm trying to think of free stuff. And so, there are other free stuff on the internet, forums and websites and things of that nature. But I'm just telling you real quick. And in books from the library. I don't know if there's an online version of the library, but maybe so. So ebooks and ebooks are cheap, Okay, so getting back to my story. So the ROI on IT right now is very good. You could take 3 months, 6 months to study, and without spending, or spending very little money, except for maybe the couple $100 per exam, and you can end up with a $30,000-$40,000 a year job starting out. And the thing about IT, and this rule is not followed, but it's something I've heard in the industry. You only want to stay on the help desk for a couple of years, and then you want to bump up into either infrastructure or management, or something else, maybe programming or whatever. The help desk is entry level. And what is the help desk for those who don't know? The help desk is, shit ain't working, I can fix it. It's like the first tier of support, And so yeah, so that's something that I would suggest. It's other things. People talk about starting business and all that kind of stuff. I gotta be honest with you. I only talk about what I know. I'm working on the business myself, but I don't want to talk about it until it's fleshed out a little bit more. So I'm telling you what I know. I couldn't get a gig in graphic design, and so I got into IT, and it's been good to me. All right. I love you guys, my African American brothers and sisters, my, African diaspora brothers and sisters, everybody, human beings in general, but my folks in particular, because sometimes it seems like us against the world. And if I can help my people, then I want to. I love you, my brothers and sisters. Keep your head up during this time. Don't worry about this Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Trump, whatever. That shit is a distraction at the end of the day. At the end of the day, if they're elected, whoever, unless they're going to come down and help you pay your rent, your mortgage, unless they're going to help you with groceries, it don't mean that much. The noisiest groups is going to get fed, and it's hard to be noisy when you're unemployed, unless you run up in the Capitol like the people did a while ago. So, so I'm just trying to offer a suggestion that can help relieve the burden off of, because poverty is a what, and having a gig that can allow you to make a significantly better income helps. All right. I love you guys. Johnathan Soul, johnathansoul.com. This is just a commentary I like to call nonfiction, where I talk about, current events and things of that nature. Usually I have a podcast called, like Johnathan Soul, or, I talk about comics, Black owned, Black created comics, and children's books for our kids. I had children, they're adults now. They betrayed me, they grew up. And, but one of the things I used to do is read to them. And reading provides a wonderful way to build a lasting bond with your children, and lets them know that they're important just because you're spending time with them. And it helps develop their brain instead of sitting them, in the corner with some kind of game console or sitting in front of TV or whatever. Because we're all busy trying to make a living, trying to keep everything going. So you sitting down with them and reading to them kind of is like a concentrated form of love. And in these very, very stressful times, love is what we need. All right. Peace.